Hey guys, welcome back. Ever since I can remember, my nervous system has been super reactive to hearing people talk about their medical issues, their symptoms, their diagnoses, anything medical related. My nervous system's favorite tricks when I hear people talking about medical stuff include like being super woozy, like that, like, whoa, like I might pass out kind of feeling. That's what I call woozy, or nauseous, or a really, like my temperature gets kind of crazy and I feel sweaty but cold at the same time. And my heart races and my legs feel jello-y and my arms feel kind of jello-y. Like those are my nervous system's best tricks when people talk about their medical things, or if I'm even like near medical things happening around me. In fact, about 25 years ago, this was on display for everyone to see when I went for a routine OB/GYN appointment for my pregnancy with my daughter Taylor. And the sonogram apparently showed that I had a pretty significant complication with my pregnancy. And I remember sitting on the table in my little paper gown and the doctor coming in, and he did exactly what doctors have to do. He started telling me in great detail about my complication so that I would know how to proceed. And as he was starting to use these big medical words and give me a whole lot of details, I had this experience of what I call graying out. And it was not my first time. I mean, definitely not my first rodeo. So I knew what graying out felt like. And it was happening. And basically, everything just went sort of gray. And I couldn't hear what he was saying. It was just like mumble jumble in the background. And then I remember the nurse grabbing the alcohol swab and like rubbing it under my nose so that I wouldn't pass out. And then the nurse and the doctor got this great chuckle out of it. And the nurse said, "Honey, we didn't even like stick you with a needle. We didn't touch you. Like, what the heck was that?" And I had to explain to her, well, I didn't use these words because I didn't know these words back then, but essentially, this is what my nervous system does if you start talking about a bunch of medical stuff. I'm going to gray out and get queasy and black out if that's what it comes to. And the nurse and the doctor got another chuckle out of it, and they were super kind though. And the doctor ended up telling me just like the bare minimum details, just so I'd know how to proceed, and then let me go. And here's the thing, you guys, I still have that nervous system. I haven't traded my nervous system in for a new one. And thank goodness I no longer go down those rabbit holes of desperately trying to have a better nervous system, a calmer nervous system. That is not my goal, my job. That has nothing to do with how I spend my days. Thank goodness. I did go down that rabbit hole years ago. All the breath work and the vagal tone work and on and on and on in an attempt to fix something that was never broken. I have the same nervous system that I had the day I was born. The difference is I have a very different experience of it because I don't fight it. I understand it now. I understand my relationship and my identity in relation to my nervous system. I work with so many clients who say, I'm terrified to hear other people talk about their medical issues. I can't handle it. And then they always tend to ask the same question that I used to ask. What can I do? But you guys, that is a bogus question. It's a trick question because what can I do about it? It kind of insinuates that there's a problem, that you are having a normal physiological human experience. And your mind is telling really, really big, scary stories about it that ultimately come down to, I can't handle this. I can't handle this physiological experience of, and then you can list your nervous system's greatest tricks. Maybe yours is mostly gut. Maybe yours is mostly that woozy dizzy that my nervous system tends to like. Whatever your flavor is, when your mind says, I'm terrified of medical things, I'm terrified of other people's symptoms, I'm terrified of hearing medical things, I want you to slow that down for just a minute and take a closer look. What if actually you're not afraid of any of those things? You're not afraid of hospitals or doctor's appointments or people saying medical words. What if it's much simpler? You're afraid of the physiological feeling of fear. That's it. You're afraid of being terrified. You're afraid of having the experience in the body of fear. Because we have been taught since we were little to avoid discomfort. Stay away from things like woozy or jello-y legs or upset tummies. We have been taught to do everything in our power to solve the riddles of those things, to push against them, to figure them out, and then to fix them. And if you're in this conversation, then you have probably spent a great deal of time trying to fix yourself, fix your physiological responses to things. And maybe there have been moments of relief. Maybe you have found moments where it's calmer. But what if? What if the goal is not to fix your nervous system responses? What if the goal is not to avoid or get rid of or somehow build a fortress around yourself so that you don't have certain normal, natural human experiences? I have the same nervous system I've always had. It loves to do the same tricks it always has. It still loves to respond very loudly when people talk about medical things, diagnoses, symptoms. But I don't suffer anymore. I don't. I have a very, very different relationship to that nervous system. I have a very different place of identity in relation to it. It is no longer something for me to fix or solve or make better. Instead, I take one step back when it's possible, and I remember who I am in relation to that nervous system. It's not mine. I didn't choose it. I didn't construct it. It says nothing about my character, my worth, my value, my strength, my power, nothing. It's like someone has handed me a shaking, nervous puppy from the pound and has just said, hey, can you be in charge of loving this puppy? This is the one you got. Can you love it? Can you take it with you? Can you take it with you wherever you go and whatever it does when it shakes or snarls or growls or whatever anxious puppies do? And not take it personally, not take it as something against your character, your strength, your power, your awesomeness. That is where we suffer. Feeling woozy, dizzy, nauseous, upset stomach, diarrhea, feeling like you're going to vomit, all the good tricks. That is not suffering. That's just having human experience. That's just having the shaky puppy handed to you that was abused or neglected. When we can just be still for a moment, take a step back and see that we are the space within which this nervous system is held, we are more apt to offer it some kindness and some grace. We are more apt to extend a hand and say, I see you and you're okay. And when there's not so much fighting and resisting and pushing back against something that is so normal and healthy and fine and natural, things do tend to settle. I'm not saying you're going to get a brand new nervous system. I haven't, but you're going to have a brand new experience of the same nervous system. This isn't about how you'll behave differently. I have no idea. That is never my focus. Behavior tends to take care of itself. This is more about just being open to seeing that if your mind has a story about how you can't handle other people talking about medical things, maybe it's an invitation to get really curious about how absolutely safe and natural and perfect your physiological response to fear actually is. Thanks, guys. Bye.